Hello, hello! I'm Angie Sea, and this is A Hug in a Better Place. The book today is The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. This book was one of the best books I've read in a while, and it definitely is something that I'll think of here and there as I read other things and as I write. This was a very addictive story, and I didn't want it to end, but it had to, and I got that. And it was just such an intricately woven story. It's love, it's tragedy, it's everything. It's family, it's travel, it's cultural, it's everything. And I just really, really valued it. And all these secrets and misunderstandings that were woven in there were just very well done. And as I said, it's framed by tragedy when you think about it, but in the sense that there's also the prelogue that is also one of the almost last chapters of the book. So that kind of brought you back. Like, I don't know. That was the only part that I don't know how I feel about, whether or not that was necessary, was the prelogue, because that was a quick snapshot, a quick scene of something that happens near the end. And I feel like the story would have just been as great without that little bit. It was interesting to flip back and be like, oh yeah, these are exactly the same. This is the exact same scene, and now I know what's going on. Because when you first read the prelogue, you had no idea what was going on. You just knew that this event had taken place, but you had no idea, and that was what the rest of the story, the entire book pretty much was leading up to. So, yeah. And the heart of the story to me is about family and how it's not something that you're necessarily born into. Some people say you can't pick family, and I don't follow that. I don't know if that's because of my personal experiences, but to me that's not true. It's people that you meet along the way that matter most. Because I mean, yeah, you can call somebody family, but if they're never around, or you never know them, or for whatever reason, then it doesn't. The word biologically related don't really equate to family. Woo, a little tangent there. But a lot of this book is really rooted in home and roots, and I love that the title is The Kitchen House, because that is such a strong symbol of both the status issue that comes in with it, the racial and status issue that comes in with the characters, and the place that matters most, pretty much, to all these people. But at the end of the day, it is the people that matter most, and that is what makes this such a fantastic book, is because all these characters, you get so emotionally invested in them, and it's just very well done. And I like that it's well researched, so you're not jarred and not thrown off, and you're not hung up on some mistake that the author made. So that I really appreciated. It's one of those books that are really great for study. Definitely see this in a high school book list. But I also would recommend you to read this before, to not let that overanalysis ruin the story for you, because it's just a great story without overthinking it. And yes, there's so much more value and so much more things in depth that you can nuance and can interpret. But as a book, as a story, it's fantastic. And yeah, it was just really great, because there's really not a word wasted, prelogue aside, on my personal feelings on that. And it was just such a great book. It was heavy, whether it was with the events, whether it was with emotions, or with the movement of things that were happening and the people that were involved. But it was also very clear. I never felt like I was confused or lost. I feel like there are some moments that you could be confused by, but it all makes sense. And it's really, but at the same time, it's delivered in a sometimes more subtle way. Like, there are definitely things that are hinted as opposed to told, and when you get those things, it's just like, oh, and it's such a great feeling when you read something and you're like, I'm getting it. It's awesome. And it was just great to read. And there's definitely sadness, because there's definitely these moments where you realize how futile human lives are, and the power of money and status and race, because this does involve slavery, and it's that stuff's in there, so but this book was just such a journey, because it does span through years and years and years. So we do take a move in setting, and then we come back, and it's just I'm just still that's what makes it such a great book to me, is that I'm still passionate about it, even though I'm done reading it, and I haven't really thought about it since I've read it, but once I'm talking about it again, it's just all come back, and it's all so great. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone somewhere made a movie about it. If there is already one, I wouldn't be surprised either. And yeah, it was just great to see how it wasn't trying too hard. It didn't force the poetic justice in. It kept it fairly realistic as far as my knowledge let me understand it to be. And yeah, it's just a book that I really appreciated and enjoyed. So it was a recommendation to me, and I thank the person that recommended it to me. I hope they know who they are and that they hear this. Thank you very much, and now I'm recommending it to whoever else might be listening to this. And yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. Thank you for listening to another episode of A Hug in a Better Place, and I will talk to you next time. Bye now.